Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video from a windy, slightly cold Central Portugal. The cats are inside, loving life. Mikey has found a box on the mezzanine that he's very into, and Larry's just up there keeping him company, and they're having a good old time. The seasons are definitely changing. The leaves have fallen from the fig tree, and it's looking super bare, and it's generally kind of cold, rainy, and miserable. But that's okay, I'm not gonna let this blustery weather stop me. I've been mostly inside either the polytunnel or the back corner of my house working on the bathroom. And thanks to a lovely donation, I was able to buy taps and do lots of stuff actually. There's loads to share. But the donation reminded me that I haven't said thanks for a while to the people that watch my video, everyone who comments, and anyone who leaves donations either by PayPal, by Super Thanks, or I also have a Patreon account. All those details are below. It really does help with the project. I am on a budget, and so when it comes to buying things like taps or larger purchases like wood, sometimes I just have to wait around until I can save the money up. So those little donations really do help, and I wanted to say a massive thanks to everyone out there. So enough of that, let's get into the video. It's a really good one. I make some incredible progress on the bathroom, and I just want to share it. So let's get right into it. Actually, before we get into the video, just a reminder that I love getting comments, so please do say hello below. Have any questions, ask them there. If you like the video, please do give it a like, it really helps out. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. So, enough of that, let's get into things. Good morning from a very cloudy day. In fact, I think I'm actually currently in a cloud. But it's actually quite lovely out here. The sun is trying to poke through, which is good news for my solar. The rain has stopped. The temperature is great, so I probably don't need the fire on, but I do like it to be cozy, so I'm enjoying that. And it's time to basically get back to work on the bathroom counter. So I've got everything in there, ready to go, hiding from the rain. And before I get started, I thought I would check on something. I'm gonna need a certain piece of plumbing to be able to continue on with this, and I'm really hoping that I have one in the polytunnel because I don't want to have to take a trip into town just to be able to continue on with the work. So I thought I'd come down and check on my little plants, the little succulents that I planted. I did see some signs of flowers on these earlier. Yeah, the little red flower there. So I guess if I just try to be vigilant about taking these weeds out, perhaps they'll have a chance to spread and thrive and hold the soil and just look really cool. Somebody told me you can actually eat the leaves in salads as well, which is interesting. I also wanted to show you down here, my IBC tank, which is quite full, took a tumble. I think what's happened is the water has actually, the rain has washed away part of the soil there, and eventually the whole thing tipped over. It has been leaning precariously for quite a while, so I'm not surprised, and I definitely should have done something about this before, but luckily it wasn't too tragic. It just kind of fell over and stayed where it is. So I'll need to empty that out, get it out of the way. I don't think I really need that one there. I hardly ever use it anyway. And I think I'd eventually like to use that space for something else. So here we are in the polytunnel. I'm very happy that it's a lot more organized than it has been. So hopefully I can find what I need. So I currently have a pipe sticking out of the wall that's gonna drain my sink, drain my bathroom sink. And I feel like something like this will work. I basically need to chop it to length and put an elbow in, and I need to do that before I can put the bottom shelf in because I need to know where the hole's gonna go. So I don't know, what do we have here? What might work? These will require some glue, but I think that's probably my best bet. And I don't know if I wanna do proper right angles or maybe that. I really don't know, but anyway, I'm gonna grab some pipe, grab some bits, and give it a try. So I'm quite confident I can make this work. I'm gonna have to saw the pipe off at some spot that makes sense. And then I'm gonna put in either two elbows like this, so it eventually gets to be a right angle, or maybe I can get away with just doing the right angle pipe, probably somewhere over here. And I found this gizmo, which might make things a lot easier for me later on. And yes, I realize it's kind of stupid to be putting the counter in before I actually have the taps or the sink, but I don't have them. I'm on a budget, and I had to buy the counters. So I had two pieces of wood that were quite expensive. And yeah, I just have to buy things as I can afford them. But luckily, somebody named Anne very kindly donated 100 Canadian dollars, and I'm gonna put that towards the sink. So rather than making one, which I just think will be, I think it'd be fun, but I think it'd be a total faff, I'm gonna buy one, and I'm gonna try to find one that looks like it's a faux stone sink. My intention was to try to make a stone sink, but I don't know how to do that. That's gonna take forever, and I think sometimes you need to recognize where your skills are, where your interests are. I would love to make a stone sink at some point in the future, but I'd also love to finish my bathroom. So I'm probably just gonna pick one up, and thanks again, Anne, for that donation. It's really gonna help out. So rather than diving right into the work today, I did a lot of work yesterday. I did it with the camera off, and I thought I would walk you through what I did. It was a lot of really finicky, small stuff, trying to get my counters to fit properly. There's all kinds of measurements that I've needed to do because of the way that I'm gonna finish the front part. So I have a lot still to share about my plans, but the counters need to go in a certain way, and it was a lot of work trying to get them in properly. And then also I wanted to get the backsplash square to the woodwork next to it, or more or less square, and so that meant chipping out a little bit of the mud work that I did behind it, which was no problem. That's the beautiful thing about working with clay. If you need to get rid of it, it's really easy, and if you need to replace it, it's really easy. So I chipped a bunch of that stuff out. And then I was doing just loads of sanding, lots of little things that added up to me finally having the finished counter ready to go in once I attached the backsplash. I also wanted to fill in some of the cracks in the top counter. As wood dries, it inevitably is going to crack, and because it's a bathroom counter, I didn't really want those cracks open. So I did my usual trick, because I never seem to have any wood filler around. I did my usual trick of filling the cracks with a combination of glue, sawdust, and water. And I pushed that in the cracks, and I'm going to sand that off today. And so my first job for the day is to sand this guy. This is what it looks like after it's dried, and when I sand it, hopefully all that's going to remain is just a little line where the crack's been filled in. So it started raining. You can probably hear the lovely noise of the pitter-patter of the raindrops on the polytunnel. It's a really nice sound to work to, but things are about to get noisy in here because I've made some space inside. I'm not letting the rain stop me this time, and I've got a lot of sanding to do. Okay, that's sanded up nicely. I'm going to give it a final sand with a finer grit right before I install it, but I do have lots of things still to do, starting with routing an edge on both sides just to round it off a little bit. So, let's go. So I feel like these screws kind of suck. Probably could have used a better screw. But oh well, I think they'll do the trick. This thing isn't doing much. It's just kind of a piece that's going to hold some other wood on the front, so I think I've got enough screws in here to make this thing stick. So the counter is mostly prepared. These holes here are so that I can easily fasten the backsplash on, and I'm pretty sure I need to do that in place because otherwise I won't be able to get the whole thing slid in. So it's going to be tricky, but I feel like having these starter holes is going to help. And then this part in the front is to do with how I'm going to attach pieces of wood on in order to close it all off, and we'll get to that part later. So let's do the backsplash. It's mostly done. All it needs is a finer sand, and then I've got linseed oil and turpentine mixed 50-50. We'll get that on it, and then that's going to be ready to go. So the sun is back out, but I kind of like working in here. It's quite nice. Feels kind of cozy and sheltered, and if the rain does start again, I'll be good. So I'm going to give both of these pieces the backsplash, and I've also linseed oiled the bottom of the bathroom counter, and I'm not going to do the final top linseed oil until I've plastered because I feel like it might splash on the top and I might have to sand it off. So it's very difficult to sand when there's already linseed oil on there. It just goes sticky and gummy and horrible. So I'll keep the top part unsanded, and that'll make things easier later on if I do some plaster splashes. So I'm going to let this dry for an hour or so before putting another coat on it. And in the meantime, first of all, let's look at how beautiful it is today. The sun's come out, the sky is mostly blue, the temperature's great, and it's time to head inside to continue with the plastering. Okay, I've got everything ready to go, and here's the 2 layers of tiles. I think in the last video I only finished the top layer. Here's the bottom layer done, and then I'm going to do the same thing on top of the counter once I get it in place. And then I'm going to continue around the wall with the plastering. So I definitely have to get rid of all this stuff. And I also want to chip off these tiles here. So I've definitely been showing a lot of plastering on this channel. You can watch a couple of videos that I've just done to see plenty of plastering of the shower. So I've got a lot of stuff to do. I'm hoping to get into town later. I've decided to go in and look for taps because I just think it's going to be too hard to push on without knowing how they connect, without knowing what sort of hole I need to make in the top counter. So I'm going to go in, and that means I've got a lot of work to do before I leave. And so the camera's going off, and I'm just going to power through the plastering. So at a minimum, I'd love to get this whole sidewall plastered, leaving some space to slide the top counter in. Maybe I'll get to the back part, I'm not sure yet. But I've got a lot of work to do, so this is where we're at now, and I'll see you soon. So here's where I got to. I lined the top all the way down to the bottom, and I wanted to do more of the back, but the departure time for town has moved up, and I only have a half an hour to get the counter in, get the backsplash screwed on, do these tiles, and sponge everything, and also get ready to go out. So it's going to be a struggle. Let's see how far I can get. Okay, that's just sitting there, resting. Everything's just resting on. I also need to screw through the bottoms and attach the counter, but I really do want to get the bottom on first. So it's going to be a massive pain in the neck, and I hope I can make it work. Okay, this is where I'm at. I definitely need to clamp this thing down, so it means disassembling everything. And I just don't think I have time, so I feel like I might just get everything really wet and tackle this either when I get home tonight or tomorrow, because I don't think this is the stage where I want to start rushing things. This is a pretty important part. So I'm going to have to call it quits. I'll get the spray bottle onto that and keep it as wet as I possibly can. So far, so good. I'm really happy with how things are going, but I definitely don't want to be rushing this part. So this is where I'm at, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, everybody, from a brand new day. As you can see, the counter is gone. I decided to pre-drill a few holes into the counter to make things easier to attach. I also sanded the top part of the backsplash, although I'm not massively happy with it. I was trying to get some of the black specks off of it, but I seem to have kind of sort of made it worse in areas, but it's fine, it'll do. And now my goal is to keep this wet for a while because I'm going to be working on this back part. I think it's going to be a lot easier to do without the counter hanging on over my head. And I've been in the shower cleaning off a lot of the lime that's kind of just gone unnoticed by me. So I've got lots of stuff to do down here in the bottom bit where the lime has splashed. And I think what I'll focus on right now is trying to clear this stuff off before it gets too caked on. When it gets a bit drier, obviously it gets harder to take off. So as you can see right there, this is going to take a bit of work. So the main goal in town yesterday was to buy some taps and some hoses and some other little bits and bobs I need to finish off the bathroom counter. And I was successful with that. However, the other goal was to go in for pizza. And unfortunately, the pizza place that Sinead and I really love was closed. So we went to an alternative, less amazing pizza place, but still had some fun. And the food was okay. So the buying taps portion of the trip to town was successful, but now I've got tiles to clean and still a lot of plastering to do before I can continue on with the counter. So let's get this done the fast way. All right, done. I've smoothed it out with a sponge. I've done the parts that I can. I'm not exactly sure where the counter's going to sit, so I've sort of left some spaces empty, but it won't be too big of a deal to go in and do it once the counter's on. Plus, I also have to actually lime the counter into place. And then I'm going to work on putting tiles here. But before I can do that, I have to get this counter in and the backsplash. And once again, let's bring it out to the snap. What a mission. The counter is mostly in. It's been a struggle, though. Once I take the clamps off, I'll be able to push everything back. But first, I wanted to point out the absolute and total pain in the ass of screwing these screws in here. It was really tough. I was kind of contorting myself. I think I pulled a muscle in my side. And I didn't even manage to get those ones in. But once I push everything back, I think they'll go into the lime, and I'm not going to worry about it. I really don't think this thing is going anywhere. One thing I did want to point out was these screws. I bought new screws because these ones kept breaking, but I can't stand this type of screw head. I don't know if I'm just getting everything wrong all the time, but I can never get these things to work. I really prefer the Torx version as opposed to, I think, Phillips or whatever these are. But I managed to get them in, and I'm not going to blame my tools for a bad job, but it's fine. So, let's get the clamps off, push this in, and start working on some tiling. That went well. Things are lined up in the right spot. There's some gaps there, but I'm going to cover that up with a wood trim, except for the shop doesn't have the right size right now. So next up is tiling there. But before I get to that, I need some fresh air. I've been cooped up inside for the past 2 days. While the weather has been mostly beautiful, it's actually taking a turn now. It was really sunny and gorgeous this morning. But I've got stuff to do in my bathroom corner, so I've been a prisoner in there for a while. And I feel like I need a little bit of outside time to get the batteries charged up again. So I've got this bowl, and I'm going to be going hunting for any of the straggler chilies that are still out here because I'd love to dry them. My ancho chilies have been hanging up for about a month, and they're finally dry, I think. Maybe a couple more days and they'll be good. And I'd also like to dry and possibly freeze some of my piri-piri chilies, so I'm going to get those picked. I have a few more over there, cherry bombs, I believe. And I think there's probably some jalapenos hanging out over there too. So I'm gonna pick these guys, and I don't think I'm gonna dry them on the string like I did with the ancho chilies. There's too many of them, it'll be too annoying. I think I'm gonna stick them in Sinead's dehydrator. And I might actually freeze a few too. So it's time to clear the chili plants of all of the remaining chilies, snip them down, and get them ready for winter. So I do have a lot of stuff to do in the garden, and I'd like to spend a bit more time outside today, but I'm kind of on a time crunch because I promised Sinead tomorrow that I would help her with her shower and bathroom for a couple days. She's been busy with work, she works online, and she's just got a lot of stuff on, so the bathroom has stalled. And the ladies' work days that we were doing, they've kind of stalled as well because olive season came, and everyone always gets really busy with that. But tomorrow and Friday, we're gonna work together to try to get her hot water system installed, her shower installed, her walls on, and we're just gonna put a big push on the work. So I'm gonna share that with you guys, obviously, but it does mean that I really wanna get a lot of stuff done in the bathroom before I go do that. So I do need some fresh air, I need to get outside, I need to enjoy nature, even though it's cold out here. But I'll be back at the bathroom as soon as I finish this, and I'll probably process these things maybe tomorrow or later tonight. And I'll chop the chili plants down. They overwinter pretty well usually. I just need to cut them way back, and sometimes some people wrap them up in this kind of white gauzy stuff to keep them protected, but I found that last year 90% of my plants came back to life without that stuff on it, and it's kind of a pain in the neck to actually wrap around each plant anyway, so I'll probably leave them out in the elements and hope for the best. But right now is really all about harvesting the chilies. It's all I have time for. I'm eager to get back into the bathroom while also enjoying a little bit of fresh air. So let's get these things off. I'll probably keep the green ones, except for these ones that I accidentally ripped off. I'll probably keep these on the plant until I actually cut everything back, and hopefully a few more will turn red, but they're also useful green, so that's fine. Anyway, harvesting chilies. This is the bowl now. See you very soon. So the chilies are picked. I still have a lot more down there of the ones that I want to wait to go red. They're still green. I did pick all of the jalapenos remaining because I like to use those green. I usually pickle them, or I might make some more cowboy candy. I've got these cherry bomb ones, which are pretty cool. Not sure yet what I'll do with those. I've got some cayenne and lots of bird's eye chilies that I will probably freeze some and dehydrate some. So it's been nice being outside, but it's time to go back into the prison. But my house is even more disastrous than usual, so let's skip past the mess of the house and come to the mess of the bathroom, which is also a disaster. So as you can see, I've been working on attaching the counter. It's on pretty sturdy over here as well. I did have to spend some time sawing this front piece off with my tiny Japanese saw, which was a total pain in the neck. And I have a lot more liming to do before I put on the second level. But right now, it's all about tiles. And let's get these on there, and then I can start, yeah, finishing this top counter off. So this is the reason I haven't sanded the top part yet. It's obviously getting a little destroyed with the lime and the water. The backsplashes as well. Maybe I should have left that unsanded too. But it probably would have been quite difficult to sand in place. So I'm very impressed with how these tiles have fit. It's pretty perfect. Definitely was not by design. So I kind of got lucky with that. I'd like to say I designed it that way, but I did not. I rarely do. I often just kind of get lucky with design stuff for whatever reason. But yeah, so things are going well. I'm going to continue working on this, and then I'm going to do the underneath part as well. And check in again. Well, I don't know what my next thing is. I guess I'll bust out the taps and try to come up with some idea of how they're going to fit. Because right now I really don't know. I've never installed taps. Well, I guess I've done the shower, but my kitchen is just a couple of random taps hanging in the air. It's not like a proper kitchen tap yet, and the bathroom will be the first kinds of those taps that I've installed. So, yeah, I've got some thinking to do. But first, I have a lot more working to do, because this liming stuff does take quite a bit of time. Oops. Maybe I need to let these guys dry a little bit before I start messing around too much, because I just completely knocked the front tiles off. So this is the current situation up here. This is the current situation down here. And I'll see you soon when I have more finished stuff to show you. Okay, I'm back. I've been at this for probably about an hour and a half. And I finished the plastering in this bit, except for this little part up here, which is a little saggy because the lime's a bit wet. So even though no one's going to actually see under here, it's going to be closed off, and I don't imagine someone's going to be peeking under there, I still want to fix it. So that's still on my list. I also plan to drop either clay or lime down there just to get everything sealed off. And so I definitely want that to kind of be closed off as well. Over here we have the tiles. It's looking good. I really am happy with it. I'll clean the rest of it off tomorrow. And yeah, it's been a long day and I'm feeling really tired, but quite satisfied with the work. So I think it's around 6 p.m. and I am definitely ready to call it quits. I'm really tired, but before I do, I want to show you the taps that I bought and show you the problem that I have to solve. And then I also realized that this little shelf up here, it's supposed to go up and down in order to put lights in these bottles. And I actually haven't tested it to see if this thing actually will separate from the liming. I've got a little piece of tape there, but if the lime is stuck to the tape, I'm kind of screwed. So first thing I want to do is let's see if this thing lifts off. If it doesn't, it's probably going to be bad news, but fingers crossed, I'm hopeful this is going to work. So I really hope that when I lift this off, or tilt it up or whatever, it doesn't rip all the lime underneath, doesn't take it with it. I don't know if wetting it down is a good idea or a horrible idea, but it's an idea. So, yeah, I don't know. Fingers crossed, everybody. Fingers and toes, please, because if this doesn't work, it's going to kind of wreck the whole top, and it'll be annoying. What's my strategy? I guess just be gentle. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. And so I've got a little bit of stuff there to clean up, but I can do that later. Yeah, so that's good news. I'm happy. I've been meaning to do that for ages and keep forgetting, so yay, it's a win. And just in case anyone is wondering what the heck this is for, who hasn't been following along since the start, I basically got access to these bottles under here, and my plan, right now I just have these cheap little lights that I don't even think they work anymore. Nope. Nothing doing there, the batteries are dead. My plan, I think, is to get some LED lights, some programmable things you can control by remote control, stick them in the bottles and add a fun feature to my place, but I know nothing about that yet. So it's on hold, but I'm just happy that this thing opens and closes after putting the lime on it. And before I call it quits on this video, because it's been long and I'm extremely exhausted, let's chat about taps. So I went to the shops last night, I chose a tap. I'm quite happy with it. I feel like it fits in with the look of my shower. It's black and kind of boxy, and I'll get it out in a minute. But the thing that I needed to check out was also these hoses. So I basically have to connect this to the tap, and then I've got some extenders to get these hoses down to under here. There's taps underneath that masking tape, which I'll unfurl in the next video or in a future video. But let's do a little sneak preview first. Here's the tap. Sort of matches my shower with the black kind of look. And it'll probably go somewhere around here depending on the sink that I get. And I think I'd like to get sort of a piece of log or something coming out of here. I saw the idea at a friend's place just to raise the tap up a bit, because the sink I'm likely to get is going to be something that just sits on top of this counter, I think. I haven't found the sink yet. Still need to do some shopping, still need to do some thinking. But yeah, this is what I'm going for. So everything is chaos. I have loads of stuff to clean up down here. Lots of tools to tidy. Lots of just scrappy bits of lime. I've got a bucket in my shower. Some stuff to clean up in there so I can actually have a shower. And before I go, I was talking about the issue with the pipe there and also connecting the hoses to the tap. And in order to see how that's going to work, I need to get the counter in place that goes here. I'm not going to fasten it in, but let me put it in place and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so the idea is that this tap is currently sort of facing the wrong way. This one's okay. The screwy part's there, so it's just a matter of attaching it and then sending the connector hose up here, and then this is the hose that goes into the tap. But this one is facing the wrong direction, and I guess I could take it all off and try to put some more Teflon on or another washer or something so that it ends up facing the right direction. But this thing doesn't leak right now, and I'm scared of touching it. So I think what I might end up doing is trying to get the hose to just go on, which I don't think it will. It might, or I might have to actually end up putting a hole or cutting a section out of this out so that I can then send it kind of around or around the other way. I haven't decided yet, I don't know. And then under here, we have this pipe, and this can be cut off to any length really. And then I'm gonna have to send this pipe up through this bottom counter. So I need to figure out where to drill the hole, and then that's gonna come up here, and that's what eventually the sink's gonna go into. So I have some stuff to think about. I also need to actually probably adjust this counter since I've put lime on the back. I don't know if it sits in the exact right place yet. It needs to line up with this piece up here fairly perfectly because of the way I'm going to do the front. But all that is going to come in a future video because I'm kind of sick of working on this at the moment and excited to help Sinead starting from tomorrow, and that's going to be the next video. So that's enough from this video. I'm going to say my usual goodbyes, but before I do, I just want to do one little session of cleaning. So here's the space as it is now, complete and total chaos, disastrous, all kinds of stuff to clean up. And I'm gonna get to it now so I can show you what everything looks like. But you do know I love a transition, so here we go. Okay folks, here we are. Trusty flashlight in the background to light things up a bit. I've cleared the floor off, haven't given it a wash yet, but picked up all the debris, tidied off the counter, moved the bucket from the shower because I'm definitely having a shower today. And yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. But as I've mentioned, I'm quite sleepy, and I think this guy definitely has the right idea. How's it going, Larry? Do you mind if I join you? Exactly. So I'm gonna hang out with my little buddy Larry for a little while and say goodbye from the video. It's been a really busy one, packed with lots of stuff, lots of challenges, and it's been really fun, and I'm loving the results. As it turns out, I will be back working in the bathroom tomorrow. Sinead's too busy to work on her bathroom, but we're hoping to get to hers in a couple days. So it could be a mixture of bathroom stuff. She's got a shower to install as well, a water heater, some walls to put on, and stuff like that. So I'm basically, yeah, gonna keep going in there, see how far I can get, and then move down to her place, and you'll see it all in the next video. So, I hope you enjoyed this one. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.